Hi there, and welcome to the ATS podcast with me, Will Brown, and John Soulsby, where we break down chunks of health and fitness information into bite-sized pieces, remove a bunch of the noise, and just leave what's relevant. Today we are on episode 27 overall. I can't remember what this would be if it was season 2. Uh, but today's topic,
Five?
yeah, about 5.
Yeah.
Today's topic is protein.
Protein.
Absolute protein. So we are removing the off topic so we don't just ramble about the off topic and then actually try wedge the main topic
Where's the
in.
real top again?
But yeah, today we're talking about protein. Protein is a macronutrient. Macronutrients are your typical big three are protein, carbs, and fat, and we're doing an episode on each. And today's the protein episode. You may have heard of those. If you haven't, it's the stuff that makes up your food.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the main bolts.
Yep. Um, Protein is typically found in meat, dairy, and again, there are vegan and vegetarian sources of protein as well, although typically those foods are not majority protein.
Yeah.
You'll get them in stuff like lentils, chickpeas, beans. But
Broccoli.
yes, there's some in broccoli. However,
I'm pretty sure, is it not broccoli? It's like the highest. I go mix up.
I feel like there was that one horrendously blown out headline about broccoli having more protein than steak, and they were like, "Cool, mate," but like you didn't specify the amount of broccoli you would have to eat to have more than
Yeah.
that much steak. I was like, unsurprisingly, if you just give broccoli an unlimited size versus a fixed size of steak, you can eventually fit more protein in it. And you're like, yep, fair.
It's also utterly wrong.
Yep.
Broccoli has 2.8 grams of protein per 100 grams and steak's 25.
Yep. Like almost a tenth.
It still has some.
It does still have some.
But don't eat broccoli for protein. It's not broccoli.
So yeah, protein is really important for general population stuff. Number one, it contributes to like energy expenditure a little bit, if I recall. It is in the context of health and fitness very important for building and maintaining muscle mass, which is what everybody wants if your goals are to do with looking or feeling healthier and being stronger.
Yeah. I mean, you can also broaden that slightly as well. It's like even if you're generally interested in health, it's just involved in building tissue. Of,
Yeah, it is
lots of
literally
kinds.
bricks
Um,
for a whole bunch of
so,
stuff.
yeah.
Um, Super relevant things for the average person. Protein is really good at staving off hunger. It is a would it be classified? Is it a complex molecule? Is that the right word? Where like it's like a heavily chemically bonded, like
Yeah.
not very easy to break down substance. That's
Mm.
like if you remember, like I'm trying to flash back to GCSE chemistry where you have all your fucking covalent and double bonds and all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And simple like single bond chains versus like big poly chained things that are connected to multiple other molecules are just harder to break down.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, because of its what I've frequently heard called a bolus nature a lot of the time, it takes ages to break down, which is really good for not feeling hungry because you have a kind of reasonably slow burn, constant stream of nutrients, and they just typically fill you up quite heavy. Like again, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be familiar with the idea of the meat sweats when you have just definitely gone a bit too ham at Fazenda or similar
Yeah.
similar all you can eat or near all you can eat meat restaurants, and yeah, you start sweating profusely. The ability to keep yourself very full and very not hungry is pretty good with protein. And yeah, pretty key in muscle protein synthesis as well. If you're trying to build muscle in any capacity, you need protein. It's like the bricks that you build muscle with. If you don't have bricks, your body will
Yeah.
find them elsewhere, which is typically by tearing other stuff down, which is never good.
Yeah. Tearing other bricks.
Yep, get other bricks. What else is it good for? Pretty common in supplement form in the fitness industry. You may have seen people at your
Very
gym,
common.
or you yourself may even slam protein shakes to get protein in. Though the supplements seem to be getting absolutely destroyed by the price increases of everything. I think they're just using it as an excuse to gouge everyone for like an extra
Yeah,
20% on protein,
yeah, I think it is.
which is
Interesting one is whey protein is just a byproduct of the dairy industry, as far as I'm aware. So like,
yeah, used to get. I mean, I imagine someone found an old use for it, but I'm pretty sure it used to either have a less cool use or just get chucked out.
yeah, so it's just whey is literally comes off of like milk production essentially, and then it's turned into powders, effectively. Long story short, I think a key one as well is like how much to actually have.
Oh yeah, good point.
So I think like for your average individual, this is where it gets a bit more like sciencey, and like you don't actually have to weigh everything out, but it's anywhere from like 1.2 to like 1.8 grams per kilo of body weight is like a suggested rough amount. If you're looking to be like mad into your weight training, you'll be much closer to the 1.8. And if you're like more of you do some weights to keep yourself ticking over, but you mainly like to do like cardio exercise, be a little bit lower down.
Yeah, it's it's pretty good.
If,
The
if anyone tells you to take 2.2 grams per kilo, they're talking absolute shite.
Yeah, I think that kind of very, very upper end has. I think, well, I'm aware it has some very specific niches for people who are like on the road into physique competitions, in that they are
Yeah.
like trying to get as absolutely shredded as possible and need to try to hang on to like every single fucking bit of muscle they can in an enormous calorie deficit. So they're pretty much almost entirely protein diets.
Yeah, and the amount you need per kilo body weight changes based on how lean you are. In theory, of like if
It's yeah,
you're
it's
100
technically lean body
kilo,
weight, right? It shouldn't just be
yeah,
like budgeted for just total
it's
body weight.
it's just kind of a guesstimate, really. At the like, this
Yeah.
is the vase area, but like if you're 105 kilo, like like Olympia bound bodybuilder, you're gonna be far leaner and have much more lean muscle mass than me.
Yeah, another there's a
So
regular person at 105
like
kilos.
a normie walking around, your protein, but yeah, if you stick within like 1.4 to 1.8 grams per kilo, you're gonna be bang on.
People are sometimes frequently worried about uh, protein consumption with regards to how it affects kidney and liver function. And as far as I've ever found, in healthy people with already properly functioning kidneys and livers, i.e., you don't have a medical condition that functions, that like you're not on dialysis, like you don't need
Yeah.
specific medical interventions for kidney or liver issues, there pretty much hasn't been an amount they found that has proved problematic. And like we were talking about 2.2 grams per kilo. I remember reading the study where they did, I think they did, was it Mike, was it Brad Schoenfield? Did something on looking on excessive protein
Seems
consumptions in
likely.
liver and kidney function, but they put it up to, I think the upper end group were on like 4 grams a kilo, 4 point something grams a kilo, which is so much food. Like even if you have to drink that in supplements, that's so much
It's
protein.
it's just hard to do.
Yeah, even if someone else is paying for it.
Uh, Brad's done one on how much you can use in a single meal. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But yeah,
But yeah,
as
it's
long
not
as
gonna
you're
mess with
normally
your kidneys and yeah, your liver and kidneys as long as you're already healthy, i.e., not like on medication for something.
yeah.
Um, there's
One wee
way.
point for the slightly nerdier ones talking about supplementation. You'll quite often see supplements have carbohydrates in it, which we'll talk about later. But they will have carbohydrates in your protein supplements. It's usually like 4 grams per serving or something like that. Just an interesting add-on is adding that in has been shown to like increase protein absorption as opposed to when you don't have any carbohydrates, which is why it's quite often in protein supplements. Be interesting fact.
Um,
And yeah, you're going to say the different types of supplement.
yeah, your typical two different supplements are going to be whey. You might also find whey isolate, which has essentially been processed an extra step, if I recall. I believe that's the kind of shtick,
I think so. Yeah.
is that it just goes through a little bit more protein, a little bit more processing, which can just remove a bunch of the other stuff that they have in it, like a bunch of the stabilizers and various other things they might put in it, which can sometimes be easier for folk to digest if you have particular issues with it. Um,
Yeah.
I know they do the same thing with creatine, where you have micronized creatine and it stops because quite a few. I think somewhere in the region of like maybe 5% of consumers get like a digestion issue with creatine.
Hmm.
Um,
That's pretty
but
cool.
yeah, you get casein and you get whey. Whey, like we mentioned, is part of the dairy industry. I mean, or is just a byproduct of the dairy industry. Whey is typically digested and keeps your blood uh, amino acid levels higher, or your sorry blood the level of amino acids in your blood stay elevated for uh, less time than for whey than they do for casein. Casein is typically 4 or 5 hours after consumption; they're still elevated, but whey is only about 90 minutes, even though that's like realistically not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It like I think the supplement industry pushes it as if one is like some sort of like race car speed protein to like get into your muscles and stuff, and then the other one just takes ages. I don't know if the difference is that significant.
Yeah. I don't know of any study that's looked specifically at different ones, but most of them are just like, if your protein, if you take enough throughout the day, you are fine. It's kind of like, if as long as your sources, especially, are pretty varied. That's the other one. Is I would always recommend to try and get all your protein from food,
Yeah, I
from
think I
food
think this is the
supplements.
thing is that people like because there was all that original stuff about amino acids in the blood. Amino acids are what proteins are made of, by the way, if we're talking about it. You can also get amino acid supplements. However, if you are taking a protein supplement, that has all the amino acids in it anyway, and is probably going to be cheaper. So yes, don't buy BCAAs. Tio, that's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one to avoid. Don't buy it. There's no point. Just take a protein supplement. There's a specific case for if you are vegan and don't want the extra calories of an entire protein supplement, but because you are vegan and vegan protein sources are incomplete, meaning they don't like each source does not have all essential amino acids, whereas with dairy and meat they do, or I think it's just with meat, maybe not dairy. Um, some amino acids are essential, some are non-essential. Essential is the stuff you cannot like you have to eat. You cannot get it any other way. That's why it's called essential. Um, a couple of them in particular are very or more important for building muscle than others, so it's important to have them all. If you're a vegan, you can still get plenty of protein in your diet. However, you have to have a much more varied source of protein. Like you can't just chug 2 protein shakes a day. Well, number one, because they're not vegan. But like even the vegan ones, even the vegan ones,
yeah.
you probably shouldn't be doing that. You should have a wide variety of protein intake just to make sure you cover all your bases of amino acids. Anyway, yeah, I think the stuff on how your blood level amino acids are elevated is a little misleading in that I think people have inferred that one of them gets into you quicker by any significant means. In like, if you drink whey, it's like mainlining sugar, like for
Yeah.
carbohydrates. Like the protein is just instantly there and like instantly repairing stuff, and casein isn't, just because it keeps your blood aminos elevated longer. I actually don't think the difference in how quickly it gets into you is that big a deal, and I also don't think the speed at which it's digested makes any difference to your ability to build muscle at all. Like, because that
No.
whole concept of like the post workout window, your anabolic window, fam, like as if you need some sort of specific fucking trenbolone double glazing. Like the anabolic window thing is like it's not a thing. Like if you don't hit a protein shake 30 minutes after your workout isn't wasted and you're never building any muscle. It's just like eat within a couple of hours of working out and you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Like just don't go for a very extended period at any point really without any protein. That's kind of the name of the game is you're just kind of keeping a fairly high level of protein at regular intervals throughout the day so that there are always bricks around to be building with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like people have lent on that. Like, oh my god, bro, you can't be taking casein throughout the day. It's too slow. You're like, I don't think it is. I think it's fine.
It
Like,
is
it's
definitely fine.
it's probably fine. Like, you could make the argument for carbohydrates, which we'll get onto in the next one. Like, you're not going to be like mid bike race trying to chow down some porridge mid ride,
Oh my god.
because
Imagine.
unsurprisingly, that would
It'd be
not
so
very that would
bad.
not feel very good. It'd be difficult to
No.
organize and also almost certainly come back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the case of carbohydrates, very different, which we'll get onto in the next episode. Is there anything more we want to cover on protein? I think we've kind of hit some big things.
Um. Nope. I don't think so.
Cool. All right, we shall catch you all in the next episode.
Uh,